Hi. Well, today has been a very, very, very long day. I woke up 3:55, 3:03:55 this morning. I needed to get to Heathrow and pick up somebody who was arriving at Heathrow at 7:30. So I got up, literally got dressed in 15 minutes because we're supposed to leave by 4:30, sorry, 4:30 was the scheduled departure time from home, so that at least would make it to Heathrow on time. So got I was going to take the first shift of driving. So we got in the car, started driving just on the main road, and I could not keep my eyes open. And I was only like literally 5 minutes down the road, and I had to swap in, and I thought, I don't know how we're gonna make this. So we swapped driving. So I was fast asleep for the whole journey, which was really good until maybe, so we went down the A1 because the M1 for some reason was closed between Leicester and Northampton, or Junction 15, Leicester and Junction 15, which is near Northampton. So that would have been closed. So we had to go via the A1, which is actually a lot better because at the moment the M1 has got so many 50 mile per hour restrictions. So there's literally, you're not driving, you're not going anywhere. So the A1 is the best way to go if you're going down south. So we carried on, and then we swapped at somewhere near where it's called St. Neots, which is just maybe about 20 miles away from Peterborough, but still on the A1. I've gone to that train station before when I'm going to London. I just drive down, park at that train station, go to London, come back at that same train station, get in my car and drive back home. Yep. So we swapped at St. Neots, but by that point, it was quite sunny, not sunny, but it was at least daylight. So I was slightly awake because I'd managed to kind of like catch a little bit of sleep on the journey. So I then managed to there was a bit of traffic on the M25, which is there's always a bit of traffic, but because it's Sunday, it wasn't as bad. So, which was really, really, really good, because we didn't feel like we are going to be late, because, by the time, if the plane lands at 6:35 or 6:30, yeah, 6:35 it was supposed to land. By the time they get out of the plane, and then they go through the airport to border control, and then from border control go and wait for their luggage and stuff like that. That most likely always takes at least an hour. So I was happy, even if we had arrived 7:30, it still would have been actually pretty good. So we were not like sort of like tight on time or anything like that. So I was good. And the traffic, because there was no traffic, and from home it kind of like said something like 2 hours and 55 minutes to get from point A to point B. So it wasn't too bad. Got to Heathrow, got to the parking, and then there was so much parking. This was a surprise. I suppose that early in the morning, every time I've been to Heathrow, there's never been that much parking. You're like going through all, you go because I think they've got floors, or yeah, I think we parked on floor 4 or something like that. I can't remember whether they call them floors or they call them, whatever it was levels. So we parked at level 4. We needed to go to gate. Is it called gate 2 or something like that? I don't know whether it's a gate or whatever. Terminal. Yeah, God, I'm forgetting all these things. It's called terminal 2. So we wanted to go up to terminal 2, so got in the lift and then went up to terminal 2, and we got there and they still hadn't actually started. Most of the people from the flight had not started coming out at all. So while we're waiting, this lady just comes out, and we're like, oh, okay. So she's standing there, so confused, like a deer in headlights, just so confused. But she was outside, where we all wait, people wait to collect, to receive their visitors, the visitors that are coming. But she was just standing there, and I thought at first, obviously she's looking for whoever was meant to come and pick her up, but she just looked so confused. And then she was able, there's a sign that says no entry. But because people were now starting to come out, she was able to go back in to the no entry. And then as she went back, we could see her because the doors are all glass, and she was so confused. She's standing there looking around, and then she comes back out again. She stands and she looks around, and then she goes back in again. And then eventually one of the security guards who was there is like, you can't come back here. You can't come back here. You need to go out because you're already out of the air. You need to get out. So she comes back out. And then I'm like, this lady is so confused. So I went up to her and I said, do you have the phone number for the person who's meant to come and pick you up? I'll call them for you. So she gave me the phone number. And then I called this lady, and then the lady's answering, and she's like, so while I'm making the phone call to this lady, I asked her to say, oh, where are all your suitcases? Where are your bags? You're coming from an international flight. Where are your bags? I would expect a person coming from an international flight to not just be carrying a handbag. She was literally just carrying a handbag, and that was it. So she said, oh, the people who are coming to pick me up are the ones that are going to collect the bags for me and then put them in the car. So I'm like, that doesn't make sense because you've left your bags inside the airport. So how are they going to get to them? So she says, oh, did I have to collect them myself? And oh my God, the lady was so confused. I mean, she was a bit older. That's why I really did go to speak with her. She was probably maybe 70 going for whatever, 70 going for 80 type of age. She was walking on her own. It's not like she wasn't walking, but she kind of like, it was just so she was confused that I'm asking. Initially, when I asked about the bags, she was like, what bags? What are you talking about? So I said, your bags that you brought with you from the international destination that you just came out of. And then she's like, well, the people who are picking me up are the ones that are going to carry the bags for me into the car, so they will take them home. So I think maybe she misunderstood maybe the instruction that will come and pick you up and bring you, because obviously you can't go in a train or you can't go in a bus because you will have all these suitcases. So she probably thought it probably meant they will come and collect the bags from the bag drop where the bags get dropped, and they would take them home with them. So anyway, I managed to get hold of the lady who was supposed to come and pick her up. So I'm like, hi, I've got your relative here, and she is she wants wondering where you are. So I said, just one moment. And then they had a conversation. After they finished their conversation, they had a conversation in another language. So I don't know what they spoke about, which is perfectly fine. So after that, she gave me the phone, and then I said to the lady, your relative forgot or left her bags inside the airport. You will probably need to go to information desk or something to go and let the or baggage control. I'm not sure when you're outside where, because I know there's baggage control when you're inside, but I'm not sure what happens when you're actually outside. And try and see if you can claim, ask them to go and retrieve your bags for you. And then she's like, because when I first said that to her, she says, "Well, what are you gonna do about the bags? You need to find the bags for me, for them. It's your responsibility." So I'm like, I think she thought I was somebody who worked for the airport. She didn't know that I was just a concerned citizen seeing this lady struggling and giving her my phone so she could make a phone call to you to find out where you are. And I'm like, well, the bags have absolutely nothing to do with me. And I'm just trying to help this lady. I don't know who this lady is. I don't work at this airport. I'm just standing here waiting for my visitor to come through the gate. So she's like, oh, okay. But at that point, so I said, so how far are you? So she said, oh, we got stuck in a lot of traffic. We got stuck in a lot of traffic. So we are about half an hour away. So I'm like, okay, I'll let her know that you're half an hour away. So I'll find her somewhere to go and sit down. So she doesn't have to be waiting around at the gate, because there's no point in that. So I just asked her to go and sit somewhere, and then, where at least it was close enough to the international arrivals. So if when this person arrives, they'll be able to kind of like, see her without any issues. So she went and sat there. We were waiting for another maybe 25 minutes before our visitor arrived. So after we had done our greetings and whatnot, all the little nitty gritties, I then thought, let me just tell this lady that I'm about to leave. And then all she just needs to do is just wait for her relative, because she was still so confused. I'm not sure how people, it's I think it was more overwhelmed. When a person goes to a situation or goes through a situation they're not comfortable, or they don't know before, some people get so overwhelmed by it. She seemed so overwhelmed. It was so sad. It was really like an experience that I did not enjoy watching, and I can imagine how she must have been feeling herself. So I just thought, do you know what? Let me just go and tell her, to assure her that this person said they'll be here. They said they were half an hour away. It's almost half an hour anyway, so they must be coming anytime soon. So I went to the lady and I said to her, and I also tried to say to her, next time when you come, go on a flight, just ask whoever buys your ticket for you to provide you with what is called assistance. So assisted boarding is almost like where a person is put set somewhere where it says disabled. I can't remember what the section is called, but the section where people were being assisted, and then there will be a wheelchair, and then there's a person who goes through everything with you with your passport, and they go and they tell you, they give them all the information. They tell them where to collect their bags. It's such an easier process rather than to try and figure out things on your own, especially at that age. To tell you the truth, anyway, even if you go to a place you've never been before in your entire life, you feel very, very, I would possibly, maybe not yet, but if I was a lot older, I probably would feel very overwhelmed. I would feel very overwhelmed. So I just went up to her and I said, you should request for assistance for next time. And I tried to explain to her what assistance meant because she didn't know what I was talking about. And then I said to her, has the lady called you to say how far she is? So she said, no, she hasn't called me. So I said, okay, let's speak with her. So she called her on her phone because we had set up Wi-Fi for her at this point. So she had Wi-Fi, so she was able to communicate if she wanted to. So I called on WhatsApp, called the lady again on the number. So I says to her, oh, so how far are you? We're about to leave. Like I explained to you, we were just here waiting for our visitor to come through. So our visitors here. So we're just about to go. So I just wanted to reassure this lady that, you're on your way. So she says, besides the traffic, there's no parking. I can't find where the parking at Heathrow is. I've never been to Heathrow before. I can't find where the parking is. So I'm like, if you go through under the underpass, when you go into Heathrow, underpass leads you straight to the parking. It clearly tells you short stay, drop off, long stay. It's unless you're blind, unless you're totally blind, there is no way you can miss those things because you go into the correct lane and you just go to, and there's so many she could have gone to the long stay and just made a U-turn and come back to the short stay if she wanted to do that. Things like that. Anyway, so I say to her, but if you're at Heathrow, how can you not find parking? Because she was claiming that she was at Heathrow. So where at Heathrow where you can't find parking? Anyway, that's how she spin. She was saying that's the reason why she still hasn't arrived because at this point she can't find parking. So anyway, I then said, yeah, do you know how long you're going to be so I can at least either wait with this lady because she seemed very frustrated, flustered, and or we can just tell her you'll be here in a few minutes. So she says, oh, I'm not sure. I just need to find the parking. So I just thought, do you know what? I can't deal with this. Anyway, I hung up the phone and then say to the lady, well, she said she's somewhere within Heathrow, she just can't find where to park and, stuff like that. So hopefully she'll be here. So I described to the lady who was receiving her, who was trying to find parking to say where exactly she was sitting. So at this point, so at least she knows where she's supposed to sit. And I also told her that she's got access to Wi-Fi. So if you can't find her, you call her because, that sort of thing. So anyway, I finished that conversation and I said my goodbyes. And I felt like I did my good deed for the day, sort of thing. But I still felt like I should have maybe asked for the lady's number so I can kind of like find out how, you know, whether she was okay because when somebody's picking you up they know exactly what time the flight was going to be. Why would they be that late? Because it's not even like that late because the flight landed at 6:35. So if the flight lands at 6:35, maybe about an hour later at about 7:30, we arrived at 20 past, between quarter. I know we were parking at quarter past. So obviously by the time we got up the lift and we got to the international arrivals, it was probably about 20 past or 25 past sort of. And by the time I started speaking to this lady, it was maybe we had already been standing there for maybe a good 5-10 minutes, 15 minutes. So I would say the lady, let's say we spoke to the lady at quarter to 8, and by 8:30, this lady still hadn't arrived. So to me, that's not a person who was serious enough or who respected the person that they were picking, especially if it's the person's an older person. And if it's an older person, it's either your mother, your mother-in-law, somebody you should have a little bit more respect for. But, regardless of that, I did my good deed for the day, but I'm hoping it didn't cause more problems than I needed to, because obviously by this point, this other lady knew that she would have to go and look for luggage for somebody who deliberately deliberately left their luggage in the airport, or maybe even end up having to buy clothes, because you don't know how long the process of retrieving luggage would take from the airport, because I wouldn't think that they would just send somebody straight to the belt and say, just pick a purple suitcase that you see. I don't think it works that way. I think there's a whole process for retrieving lost luggage. So because at this point it's already considered as lost luggage. So that's after that we went, paid for our parking, and departed, left and started going home. And because obviously having woken up so early, still feeling so tired. I think I didn't take the first shift of driving again from Heathrow, but swapped again maybe just before we got to Peterborough, and then carried on. I then drove all the way home. And then once we got home, the first thing I needed to do was have another shower, because I needed to wake up. Because, it's like, even though it was, by the time we arrived home, about 10:30, 11, 10:30, about 10:30, I think we left Heathrow about 8:30, quarter to 9. About 10:30 to 11 o'clock. Arrived home, went straight in the shower. After that, felt a little bit better. Then did some cooking. And then after that, just relaxed. Oh, actually, sat in the sun. Sat in the sun. I forgot that part. Sat in the sun, because the sun was absolutely amazing this afternoon. It was so nice. But that's my day, and I'm hoping to go to bed a lot earlier today, and hopefully have a really, really long sleep before wake up to go to work tomorrow morning. Okay, thank you.